Hola todos, I'm Tara, and along with my husband Josh and my pup Phineas, we are in the process of preparing a big move to Spain on their new digital Nomad visa. A lot is up in the air, so be sure to hit subscribe to see if we make it. Firstly, I am so thrilled that so many folks are finding my first few videos. It's definitely lit a fire under my mum to get back into it. Because it's been a while, let's do a quick update on what's been happening during this quiet time. Can I stress just how much this time has not been quiet? And it's been kind of a mix of good, not quiet, and bad, not quiet. First, the good, not quiet. In April of 2024, so in April of this last year, I launched a new design in my store featuring hand-drawn mascots. Perfect for football game nights, school spirit week, skee ball meets. Yes, apparently skee ball teams are a thing. I love drawing these kind of glow-up mascots, but little did I know how much other people were gonna love them too. So within a few weeks of putting the listing up, we were getting in about 20 orders a day of mascot orders alone. I figured it was probably kind of due to the beginning of the school year, followed closely by the beginning of the sports season. Within days, I was buried under requests for tigers in hats, cougars in sweaters, alligators with muscles, and wildcats. Hundreds. I'm telling you, hundreds of wildcats. I still don't have a clear definition of what a wildcat is. So if you're a wildcat, let me know. For the last 6 months, I've been drawing mascots from about 7:30 in the morning until about 9 p.m. at night or later. And this is where we kind of get to the bad, not quiet. With those hours, I was actually falling farther and farther behind. I can probably draw about 5 or 6 or 7 mascots. Some of them are a little quicker than the others because we're starting to get a lot of repeats, so I'm able to use the same mascot for the same school, or even the same mascot for a totally different school. Like I said, lots of wildcats, lots of hornets, lots of tigers and lions, and so I'm able to reuse a lot of the same stuff, maybe with a few color tweaks here and there. All of that aside, I was still falling farther and farther behind. Our bank account was looking healthy, but I certainly was not. I was running on practically no sleep, and even worse, I have been an emotional wreck, and I still kind of am. Honestly, in my notes, I said I was an emotional wreck. No, I'm still an emotional wreck. There's a lot happening right now. I was getting daily emails from folks, very polite folks for the record, no one has been angry, asking when they should expect their mock-ups, because I send a mock-up over for approval to make sure I have the spelling right and the colors correct. I was making a lot of mistakes, luckily those have calmed way down, but I was making a lot of mistakes and having to refund or redo a lot of orders. And if you know me, you know I am a huge people pleaser. A people pleaser most definitely to a fault sometimes. I want everyone to be happy, and I certainly don't want to make people unhappy. I don't want to be the cause or the source of people's unhappiness. And honestly, looking back, everyone was happy. I made sure to keep customers in the loop with the lateness of orders. I answered almost all of my messages. We had some very spammy people, so I didn't answer those. And I really learned how to start saying no. So that's one of the good things that came out of this is I've really practiced saying no a lot in the last 6 months. So where does that leave us today? I'm definitely still doing mascots. As you can see, I'm actually doing a Miami Hurricanes mascot. He's an ibis. Can't remember what his name is actually. He's got a name. So if you're a Miami Hurricanes student, what's the name of the ibis? I forget. Now we're still doing mascots, but we're pretty much totally caught up with the designs at this point. But if someone sends me an order for a mascot, I can usually get that mascot out to them the same day. So that's definitely a plus. As of recording this, it's the second week of October, and we're in a bit of a lull before the insanity of fourth quarter shopping starts. If you're not in any industry that fourth quarter matters in, count yourself lucky. The fourth quarter is the final quarter that includes all of the biggest shopping holidays, so Christmas, Halloween, Thanksgiving, New Year's, all of the big holidays that people are constantly buying gifts for. So probably by next week, we're going to start seeing an influx of orders in. So I don't know what the mascot situation is going to look like, because I don't know how well mascots sell at Christmas, but I guess we're about to find out. honestly, with the craziness, this has been the lull that I've needed. I've needed a little bit of downtime. I do wish that amount of money were still coming in. So I've got to figure out maybe a different way of creating designs, pre-creating designs, so that I don't have so much custom work that needs to be done. But it's quiet right now, and I'm using that to add a whole bunch of new items that are not mascot related into the store, and of course, prepare for Spain. And that brings us to Spain. What is new with Spain? So a few things, actually, a few very important things. With the move being exactly 6 months away, and oh my gosh, it feels like it's happening tomorrow, but it also feels like it's happening in 5 years. I don't understand how that's possible. We need to really start figuring out our list of paperwork and which lawyer we will be using. Just as a statement, I hate Facebook. I loathe Facebook. But last night I was doom scrolling until 1 a.m. and I ran across a post in one of the Spain groups I'm in. And I'm going to post that group down below because it is one of the most fantastic groups that I've ever been a part of as far as getting information, and most people are pretty welcoming. I'll post this group below. It's the Digital Nomad Visa Spain group. It is literally a bottomless well of information. Louise Carr, who I believe is an admin, and she's a relocation specialist, it's really hard to say, specifically for Spain. Oh my goodness. And she acts as a liaison for literally hundreds of folks applying for their visas every month, the Spanish government. So she works between the people who are applying for the visas and the Spanish government, which if you're moving to a foreign country and you don't speak the language and you don't fully understand the red tape, that's an amazing person to have in your pocket. We're probably going to try to set up a meeting and work with her in the next few weeks. She put up a post in the group that, and again, this is 1 o'clock in the morning, so she put up a post that chilled me to the absolute core. I immediately thought, oh, well, that's it. We're done. Because that's where my brain is going right now, right? When you're doing something this big, when you're making a move and uprooting everything and selling everything and leaving everything behind, it almost feels like it's not going to happen. Even though everything that you're doing is pushing you towards making it happen, it feels like something's going to get in the way. I promise I'm not a Debbie Downer. I am really an optimistic person, but it just feels like something's going to happen. And I don't know what that something is going to be. Last night when I was scrolling, I thought that this was that something. So she put up a post, which in hindsight is very typical of the Spanish bureaucracy. This should not be a surprise. And once I read the post and told myself that, I calmed down just a little bit. In all honesty, it's just more punches to roll with. And if you're applying, especially in Spain, for a visa, that should not come as a surprise. There will be punches, there will be difficulties. Okay, so here's the post. I'll put the post up on the screen, but I'm also going to link to it below. You might need to sign up for the group if you want to read the whole thing. But again, if you're moving to Spain, if your goal or your dream is eventually to move to Spain, I highly recommend joining the group anyways. So in summary, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but what her post says is that the UGE, that is the portion of the Spanish government that is in charge of managing the applications for all visas under the entrepreneur's law in Spain. The UGE is beginning to require extra documents when they learn that you are coming over as the owner and employee of your company. And as I've explained in a previous video, that is exactly the plan that Josh and I had. And that's exactly what a lot of people who are applying with the digital nomad visa, who own their own companies, were doing. So essentially, they're beginning to require extra documents if they find out that not only are you applying under this business, but you are also the owner of this business. So essentially, because my company has been an LLC for over a year, which is one of the requirements, or will be when we get there, it'll actually be over a year in March. I was going to be coming over as a contracted employee. Now, according to Louise Carr, as soon as the government figures out that you are the owner and employee on the application, they've started asking for extra documents. She said they won't ask for all of these, but will definitely ask for 1 or 2. So let's go over what they're asking for. The first one is proof of share percentage of ownership. The second is your last tax return. The third is the proof of investment in means of production, so machinery, technology purchased, any money that you've invested into the company. Proof of the existence of employees, contracts of the company, invoices of the company, proof of the existence of the company's customers. So out of the list that Louise put up, I'm confused about half of the items. So remember, this is not a channel that's going to teach you how to do this. I'm just taking you along on our journey as we try to figure out how to do this. So out of the list that Louise put up, I'm confused about half of the bullet points that she put in there. So proof of share, percentage of ownership, the first one on the list. I honestly don't know how to prove that I share a percentage of my own company. I don't know how. I'm sure there's, again, it's more research that I need to do. Does this mean that I need to create a board and put my husband on it? I don't know. Like, is it okay if I own 100%? Do I need to own less than 100%? Does this mean that I can prove that I own 100% of my company simply by showing my business license? I understand the concept of proof of share percentage of ownership. I get that, but share percentage tells me that someone else owns part of the company as well. So the next one I'm a little bit confused on is the proof of the existence of employees. As of today, I am not contracted to the company yet. I'm still just the owner-operator of my LLC. So we don't have employees technically. It's just me and my coworker Phineas, who you've all met and adore. But his is more of a volunteer position. So yeah, I don't think I could put him on the application. So do I need to hire my husband? That kind of goes back to the other one. How does my husband keep getting thrown into the wheels of the Spanish bureaucracy bus? He's like just the addition to all of this. He's gonna be the tool that I need. Oh God, I just called my husband a tool. He's not a tool. The third one I don't understand is the contracts of the company. And this is a big one. And this one I've been aware about since the beginning. This is not new, but now they're asking for contracts specifically if you are the owner and employee of the business. So this is kind of a big one. Josh and I's business is not a contractual one, meaning we don't have contracts with our customers. If I had licensing contracts for my art, which is now higher on my to-do list, then this would be a totally different story. Essentially, with this last one, Spain wants us to prove that we have a proven income for the future. Totally get it. Makes sense. If we have established 2 to 3 year contracts with our customers, then they can easily see that we'll have at least an income for the foreseeable future. Josh and I sell to customers. It's like an individual store. You know, I have an online store. People come and they'll order 1 item or 20 items, but it's not contractual. It's just, I like this item, I'll buy it. It's customer by customer basis. And no, the fact that my business has been in existence and profitable for nearly 6 years does not matter in this instance. I wish I had answers at this point, but I'm thinking we're going to need to get an immigration lawyer sooner rather than later to get these things cleared up before it's too late. One thing I've learned, and will continue to repeat in every single video most likely, is that moving to Spain and probably to any country is not a straightforward process, isn't easy for anyone. The phrase expect the unexpected might be more applicable than anything else about this experience so far, and we've barely even started. So what do we expect this journey to look like? First off, it's still happening. We're still on schedule to leave here in March and head to Florida and hang out there for a couple of weeks with my parents and really get some quality time in with them. And then we should be in Spain in April. So we're still very much on track for that. We're going to try to make the entire journey, this entire process, as easy as possible, getting helping hands along the way where we can. But Josh and I are going to try to set some realistic expectations. We've decided to expect to be denied. And that might sound really scary. And like I said, I'm a perpetual optimist, annoyingly so. I think everything will always turn out fantastic. Like, it'll always work. It's also what gets me into trouble. I tend to jump into things like with both feet and then realize later they might not have been a good idea. So expecting to be denied is a really hard thing for me to do because in my heart, I know we're going to be accepted, but I can't tell myself that. In fact, I have to stop telling myself that. If we expect to be denied, our reasoning for a denial expectation makes sense. So let me explain. If we expect to be denied, then perhaps we'll be over-prepared going in. And if we are denied, we'll be prepared for the emotional wave of terror that is bound to sweep over us. In addition, we will also be prepared with plans B and C, and we won't go straight into panic mode. According to other sources, being denied is very common when you're applying in Spain. It's usually just a roadblock while they request more documents like the ones we mentioned above, and most of the time you can collect the extra documents and resubmit within a few days. If you get a definite denial, you can reapply at any time with a new application fee, which if I remember correctly is around 80 euros, so it's nothing crazy. The definite denial sometimes doesn't come with a reason why, which is another reason why it's great to have someone in your pocket that can help you through this process. Someone who is very familiar with the country, the language, in the application process. When they don't give you a reason why, it can be a bit of a shot in the dark if you're going to be accepted the second time around, because then it's almost like throwing spaghetti at walls, or throwing tapas at walls, and just seeing if it'll stick. Okay, point is, if we get denied, it's not the end of the world. It's just part of the process. And in case you can't tell between business, Spanish doom scrolling, and just life, Josh and I have been on a bit of an emotional roller coaster. And I'm betting anyone else on this journey has a very similar looking one. So I'm hoping that these videos and these kind of diary style entries are going to help other people who are getting ready to go through this process, or who are in this process and are feeling alone. Trust me, you are not alone. Just keep going forward. You just have to keep barreling through. Not only are we nervous about uprooting ourselves and our pup, oh my God, he's going to miss all his friends. He has so many friends here. But we're nervous about selling our things. Oh my gosh, guys, I sold my favorite Mexican table last week and I'm still in mourning. I've had that thing since before college. It was beautiful. I'll pop a photo up here. I didn't take a video. I should have taken a video. But luckily, I had a lot of offers on it. A couple of the offers were obvious resellers trying to lowball me, but I finally landed on someone who just wanted the table. She didn't want to resell it. It was part of her aesthetic. She just moved into a new place, so she got it, and I couldn't be more thrilled. I know she's going to have it for years and years and years. I'm in mourning. I'm in mourning for that table. So I've officially sold my favorite thing in the house aside from my husband and my dog. Won't be selling those. And so we're in. You know, that means we're in. No matter what, we will be in Spain. Staying in Spain is another thing altogether. But yeah, we're uprooting ourselves. We're saying goodbye to our family and our friends. We're saying goodbye to literally everything we've known over the last 40 plus years. And I'm talking things that like you just get used to. You know that you can go to certain places and buy certain things. You know that you can talk to certain people at certain times. These are all things that are known things. So quick little story time. It's a fun one, I promise. Last week, Josh and I celebrated a bit late because our anniversary is in September. But last week, Josh and I celebrated our 5th wedding anniversary. And at our wedding 5 years ago, Josh requested, because we both have the utmost amazing taste in everything. So Josh requested pralines and ice cream cake from Baskin & Robbins. That was our official wedding cake. We also had a friend make an absolutely amazing cake as well. So we had 2 cakes because we like cake. And it's kind of fun because now on our anniversary, we can go back and get that exact cake for like $30. Baskin Robbins, if you don't know, and I did not know this, but my husband used to work there when he was a teenager, so he knew this. Baskin Robbins have a very specific design for their cakes. Certain flavors come with certain designs on top. The pralines cake has a kind of cross-hatch caramel on top, very refined and elegant. So we assumed that on our first wedding anniversary, the cake for the wedding day was perfect. That was not a problem at all, but we assumed that on our first wedding anniversary, when we ordered the pralines and cream cake, we'd get pretty much the exact one we had on our wedding day, because they're all the same. We were pleasantly surprised. So when our first anniversary rolled around in 2020, COVID was just kind of seeping into the world. And so we were wearing masks, but nothing had gone into full-on lockdown yet. And I placed an order for pralines ice cream cake with happy anniversary written on top. And when I picked it up, the young lady, she was probably 20-ish, maybe in her teens, but late teens. She was standing behind the counter and she looked really, really nervous. Like, super nervous, like no eye contact nervous. She kept the front of the box facing her because she grabbed it out of the refrigerator. It had already been made. She kept the box facing her and while she rang me up. And then instead of just handing me the cake, she walked all the way, like she could have just slid it across the counter to me. She walked all the way around the counter, turned it around, and she just kind of handed it to me. Like she didn't wait for me to look at it. She just put it in my hands. My only guess is that this was her first experience with pralines and cream cakes and lettering. I literally cannot tell you the amount of joy and sympathy that I felt for this girl. I told her it looked amazing, and I meant it. I meant it from the bottom of my heart. I told her it looked amazing, and I told her she did a fantastic job. And then I immediately went out to the car and took a photo to send to my husband. This stunning cake has been our anniversary tradition ever since. It's always fun to see how kind of confused and a little bit nervous the staff get when we ask them to recreate this Picasso of a cake. We show them this photo every time. They always ask me to send them the photo, or they take a picture of it on their phone, and I reassure them that this is the same cake they've been making every single year. Try to get the lettering off to the side, like try to get the cake to look exactly like this. And they always look so confused. Point is, traditions like these, I don't know how we're going to recreate them when we get to Spain. You know what I mean? I'm not totally sure how we're going to find a pralines and ice cream cake from a ice cream store and have them put purple flowers and happy anniversary hanging off the edge. I just don't know how we're going to be able to do that. I know what some of you guys in the comments are probably going to say. Sure, we can create new traditions, and we can. But this part of our life will be, for the most part, completely different next year. We might even be so far in the thick of it that I'm not sure how we're going to celebrate. I don't know. We'll see. We're very nervous about the unknown next year, and I don't know if Josh is. We talk about pretty much everything, but I don't think we've really talked about this, but I'm equally nervous about 5 years down the road. It's exhausting to wake up elated that you're finally doing something on your dream bucket list, and it's not just something on your to-do list for the day. Like you're doing it. You are doing something that a lot of people don't have the courage to do, or don't find the time to do, or maybe don't have the finances to do. But then at the bottom of the roller coaster, you go to sleep at night with a weird feeling of, who are we to do this? Is this something we deserve? Is this something we've worked hard enough for? And my biggest fear is, this is the one that keeps me up at night, but my biggest fear is easily, am I making a decision that's going to mess up our lives? And I know that's a really weird question, since I'm not doing this alone. Josh and I are both making this decision. We talk nearly daily about where we are emotionally and paperwork wise with this move. And for the most part, we're on the same page. We both understand the risks and the timelines, but for some reason, it's with a lot of other things as well. My brain wants to take on all of the responsibility. I'm learning a lot about myself during this process that I don't like. I'm proud of how adventurous we are. I'm proud of how adventurous I am. I'm proud of how fast we're moving forward. You know, it's not something we both said we wanted to do and then just let it fall on the wayside and said, oh, I'll start working on that next week. Yeah, I guess it's all part of the adventure. It's weird. It's a weird thought process. Even if we fail, which we won't, but we will. But we won't, but we will. Even if we fail, I am going to be so proud of all of the band-aids we ripped off and all of how brave. We've just both been very brave through the process. And I think it's okay to be proud of us. I'm not trying to say that in a gloating way. I'm just really proud of some of the changes that we've forced ourselves to make during this whole process. So with that being said, I'm going to go on ahead and wrap up today's video, and I'm going to try to get you another one next week. I'm going to try to get back on the bus with all of this, but thank you guys so much for sticking around and all of the wonderful comments, which I'm going to go reply to after this. I didn't realize people were leaving me comments. I literally just fell off the wagon, and I'm just getting back on. So I'm going to go reply to all of those amazing comments, and I'm going to try to be a bit more regular with these posts. They are honestly a great outlet for the nerves and just the brain dumping that needs to happen. So again, if you liked the video and want to keep track of our harrowing adventure, be sure to click the subscribe button and comment below, and I will see you all in the next one. Adios!